Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my husband with me again.
Hey, I'm back again.
How do I respond when he does this, guys?
Sorry guys.
Anyway.
Guys, I want to say thank you so much for all of the love, all of the support. The last video. I'm just saying, I get a lot of people stopping in the streets now.
No, oh my gosh. Alright. Okay, mate. So we've got questions to answer. Some of you guys have sent us questions. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, this is a how we met video. So we're going to be answering questions so you guys can get to know me and my husband more. I mentioned James a lot in my videos, and some of you are probably wondering, who is he? Don't know more about him. So today you will. So stay tuned to find out more about the both of us and our story and our journey together.
Sounds good.
Question number 1. What were your first impressions? Question number 1. What were your first impressions? So the first time I met him, I was just thinking, literally,
whoa,
who does this guy think he is? So he just bopped into the church, like say he was the king of London. And I was thinking, who does he think he is? So he was walking around.
Did I actually bop into the church?
You bopped into the church.
Wait, the first time I
You bopped into the church.
And do you know my leg wasn't hurting or anything?
Your leg wasn't hurting. Was your leg hurting on the first day?
Cool. People or something.
Anyway, move.
How was my bop?
With his chest
I haven't bopped in years, like 9 years now.
His chest was so high. It's like he walked in thinking, I am the man. And I was just, men like that.
It's a man's world.
Don't stop cutting me off his food.
Sorry. It is a man's world. It's a man and woman's world. It will be nothing.
Is that the words?
Yeah.
So it sounds different when you say it. Cool. So then walked into the church, and just the way that his persona, he was carrying himself, was very proudful, and I just thought, he just looks quite ignorant. And then he was walking in, and as he walked in, he eyed up my sister, then he eyed up this woman, then went into the service. So in my head I said, this guy ain't serious. So that was my first impressions. Your turn?
Yeah, I looked at her sister, as you can see, and I thought, yeah, potential. I looked at the side chick, which is my wife at the time. So again, he was like hoodied up, you know. She's a tomboy. So her sister was more of like a girly, and she was a tomboy. So she kind of ruined her chances with me in the beginning.
Well, in the beginning, but anyway. Yeah, so he was, he just didn't even acknowledge me, and I didn't even look at him. So that was our first impressions. Question number 2. This one's a bit different. I'm gonna have to just rephrase it because of how someone has worded it. So basically, how did we develop feelings for each other? So we kind of just spoke about how our first impressions were. So we kind of need to explain how it changed. So I'm gonna start. So obviously that was when we first met, and we were both unconverted, so we didn't know God then, and we were both completely different people to who we are today. So like James said, I was a tomboy, and I looked very different. I didn't really look after myself that much, and my attitude obviously was completely different. And then James, he was just a very proud, very proud, different kind of guy. So during those years, before we started developing feelings for each other, James was outside London in university and still going to another church, another branch of our church there, whilst I was obviously still in the church here. So over those years, I converted, I gave my life to God, and literally in those years, God changed me completely. During that time as well, whilst James was there outside London, God had changed him. So I remember now when he first came back, and I remember it was before a service, and I didn't know he was going to come back. So I was just there standing, and I remember when he came into the church, I looked at him and I was like, literally, that was exactly what happened. And then later on, James told me the same thing.
Yeah, it's a similar situation to Des. Remember last week that I did? Do you remember when I said that moment when you went to chinchilla? It was that kind of chinchilla moment.
Yeah, so the same thing happened. So
yeah, and
it was actually the same day.
Same day. And I was like, do you know what? Such a big change in her. Like, I could see, you know, her appearance, the way she held herself. Yeah, it's just like glowing, literally.
Not with makeup, but just.
You were different. You were normal the same.
Yeah, he just looked really different. So it was actually the same day that we both caught eyes for each other, and it was completely different. And that was when the feeling started. And over time, we were both in the same youth group. We were working with youths together. We were inviting youths to the church. We were growing, and during that time, we were in the same group. So I was observing him, and I could see him in my group. He was really funny. He was really helping out the youths, and likewise. And yes, so it was basically working together in the youth group and stuff that I kind of got to know him more. So that's when I really saw he was a completely different person. That's what I saw. He was a completely different person. The way that he would treat people, the way that he loved, you know, cared about those who didn't know God, the way that he was with his family, and I just found that so attractive. And his humour especially, and of course his looks. And yeah, that's when the feelings developed.
Thanks so much. That was such. How can I beat that? How can I beat that? But I'm gonna try. Like, yeah, and very similar. Like this is so different, man. Like, and I was like, wow, she's got a real good personality, just really funny, and it's like she understood me. Like, a lot of people don't understand me. That's the thing, you know. Like, some people just don't get my humor, but she got it. And yeah, and as I said, she was just really pretty to me. I was like, yeah, wow, she was really glowing and really gorgeous, and I could just literally see myself long term being with her. And that's what I wanted. I wanted someone that I can date to then, of course, get married and spend the rest of my life with her. And I could finally see the first girl that I could do this with.
Yeah. So that was how we started. Yeah, so we were working together in a youth group, spending more time closely together, and that's when the feelings basically kind of developed. Okay. But at this point, we weren't talking on the phone, we weren't meeting up or anything. It was just inside of me, I had my feelings for him, and inside of him, he had my feelings for me. And at that point, we hadn't yet communicated.
Yeah,
we communicated our feelings. Who made the first move?
Who do you think? I give you 3 seconds, and we're saying 3. Desreen. No doubt.
I made the move. And I know nowadays, ladies, that is not what happens. Usually it's supposed to be the man that makes the first move.
But guess what? She literally couldn't help herself, and it's like, I have to tell him everything. Isn't that how it was?
Take it back, James.
Okay. That's the man.
Okay, let me explain myself. So, like I mentioned, that usually doesn't happen. But for me, guys, I need to just prepare myself for this. When you feel as though you've found someone, okay, that has the same values that you do, the same faith that you do, the same goals, the same vision, that is everything that you wanted. When you find someone like that, are you really just gonna let them pass by? No. It's not just with finances. It's not just with careers or jobs that you just fight for something and you snatch something and you just go out there and get it. It's also with your love life. And I said to myself, honestly, if I don't make the move, what if someone else makes the move first? And that was actually what I was thinking. If someone else makes the move first, I will lose the opportunity. And when you find something that you're like, I need to just go for it because I can only have this one opportunity. So that's how I saw it. And at that time as well, I was confident in myself, confident in I was confident in myself, knew that I was someone who was ready to give to someone in a relationship. You know, I had changed, God had changed me, and I was confident in myself and I was ready to be with someone. So I just said, yeah, James, I like you, and yeah, so it was me that made the first move.
Yeah, and it's so funny because the day she actually made the first move, I was with one of my friends in Burger King Peckham, funny enough, I still remember it. And I was like, do you know what? I want to drop it to her. Like, I like her. Like, and then I was like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know. How should I do it? And when we were talking, having that conversation, then the text came through.
And that's when I texted
And then
him.
the text was saying, I was like, oh, wow.
But it's so weird. Like, have you noticed, James? We first met each other, we thought the same thing about each other. The second impressions, the same day is when everything clicked and we were like, wow, about each other. The third time was when I told him that I liked him, was the day that he wanted to tell me that he liked me. It's so strange. And yeah, so I made the first move. So let's go to the next question, because I feel like if we take too long, we're not going to go through all the questions. Question number 4. How and where was your first date? So where was our first date?
Good question.
Good question.
Is it Gaucho?
Yeah, it was Gaucho, isn't it? Yeah, it was Gaucho's lovely restaurant. And it was really nice. How was it? It was really nice.
Yeah, really nice. Really, really nice.
Food was lovely, and we just
good.
spoke the whole evening.
Yeah, it's nice. Really, really nice. I remember like it was yesterday.
No, you don't, because you have to think which restaurant it was. So yeah, it was really.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago, but it was really nice. And I was thinking, this is a nice restaurant to go for my first date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question. Where was your first kiss? Okay, so we actually, after we started dating, we waited 6 months until we started, until we had our first kiss. And
seems long, isn't it? 6 months.
yeah,
Wow.
6 months. And oh yeah, and I'm going to speak about Christian dating and all that after, because the question is there. We waited 6 months. It might be strange, but I liked waiting, and it was nice because it kind of gives you something to wait. I feel like when you're dating, obviously when you're married as well, but when you're dating, I feel like you shouldn't just give everything just because now this is my boyfriend and I'm his girlfriend. Okay, yeah, let's do this. I feel like you need to kind of take your time, enjoy, and also let him conquer you. Like, don't just give everything. Do you know what I mean?
And vice versa.
Yeah, we'll speak about that.
And vice versa, like.
Yeah, vice versa.
Girls got to conquer you as well.
Whatever. Alright, yes. So our first kiss was after 6 months of dating, and it was actually in Bournemouth. We went to Bournemouth for the day, and it was on the beach. We just had our first kiss.
Yeah.
When did you meet your family? So the opposite family members.
I remember knocking for you one time, and your dad opened the door. Yeah, what I'm doing?
Didn't say that.
He didn't say that, but he's like, yeah, open the door, and out, because he's Jamaican, and I knew he had dreads. I just had like a sort of
stereotype
that, you know, it's gonna come out weird. Like, why I was saying, when the time, yeah, I thought that was gonna happen, but yeah, then he had a really soft and polite spoken man, and I was like, okay, well.
And then you met my mum as well.
It
was just like a casual.
Yeah.
And then I met but I think I met your mum before we were dating.
Okay, yeah.
When we were, where was it? No, I met your mum after we were dating. When we just come to your house to meet, to go, and yeah. So first we saw each other. I saw his parents.
Jamaican.
Yeah, wait. Secondly, I saw his parents. But this was when we're kind of getting to know each other. So it wasn't really like, it wasn't the first time like, hi, this is my girlfriend. It wasn't like that. It was like I kind of met them before, and James met them on a casual. It was fine, but the only clash, there was a bit of a clash because I'm Jamaican and he's African, Nigerian.
Ibo.
So So in the beginning, his can you talk, Minister?
Yeah, in the beginning, my parents.
You talk.
In the beginning, my parents didn't like her. I was like, man, Jamo, Koto, Chuka. Because my Nigerian, Chukuka, Koto. Find like Igbo girl.
Yeah. And my mum and dad were just fine with it. So yeah, that was how it was in the beginning. But that's when we met. So we kind of met whilst before dating. Also, it was just like a casual hello meeting, and then for later on introduced as a couple.
But she warmed to my wife, like down the line.
Down the line. Yeah.
Then she actually saw her like a Nigerian as well. Yeah.
What was the first gift that you got for each other? I don't remember.
It's a setup.
I don't remember. I don't mind if you don't remember, because I actually don't remember.
What did I get you first? That's a good question.
A teddy.
Bear.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
a teddy.
probably like a teddy yeah, something like.
I think it was a teddy bear in a card or something.
Wasn't it a big teddy I got in the car?
Yeah, it was a big teddy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
big
a
teddy.
really, really big teddy.
A massive teddy bear that was literally
In this car, and then it
put like a
opened,
seatbelt on.
opened the car, and he's like, "Come outside," and I was like, "What is this big teddy bear in the car?" Yeah, it was sweet. That was the best gift. I don't remember the first gift I got you.
Yeah. And I don't remember as well, so that says a lot.
Yeah, that says a lot. Sorry, me. But you remember the gifts I recently got you.
Okay.
How long were you dating before you got married? So we started dating in 2011.
Yep.
We got married in 2013.
Booyah.
And we got engaged 7 months before
Yep.
the wedding day. So about a year and a half.
I finished university in 2010.
We started dating 2011.
2011 we started dating. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. 2011 we started dating. We got married in 2013. How did you know that he or I was the one? This is a deep question. Can we go first?
There you go first.
You go first.
You go first.
I've been talking first all the time.
Cool, I'll go first. So, when did I realize you were the one?
Yeah.
I'd probably say when I first saw her and I thought, wow, Desreen's different, and it was just like slow motion, like in the movies. It was just like a bit weird, like yeah, fair play. But then I think probably that when I then got to know you more, like, and we spoke a bit, and we were
spending time together.
Yeah, I was thinking, do you know what? She's really cool. Yeah, I like this girl. That's like,
yeah.
I want to get to know her more.
Yeah, I didn't. The thing is, this is a tricky question, but for me, I feel like we just clicked. Like there was no drama, there was no awkwardness, we were so transparent with each other, so we really knew each other. Everything that we were given was who we were, and what we were given is what we liked about each other. Like I said in the beginning, we had the same goals, we had the same dreams, you know, we were both driven, and we both, which is the priority, had the same faith, and the character that he had, I admired. And I was like, I definitely want to be with someone like this, because living with someone like this, being with someone like this in the future will only benefit me. And obviously you have to consider that it's not being selfish, because you actually have to consider the person that you're going to be spending the rest of your life with this person. So it's not just about looks. Yeah, it is about looks, because James is very handsome, and that's one of the reasons why I married him. But underneath that is who the person is, and I saw that he had a good character. You know, he was honest, he was truthful, he was trustworthy, a man of God, a man who feared God. All of these qualities he had is what I desired, and that's why I knew this person was for me. Yeah, so I just knew. So there was a time when we were dating, and I would go home and just think, do you know what? This is it. I can marry him tomorrow.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, like,
I
can marry him tomorrow. Yeah, it was literally like, we already know that we're for each other. Next question. Why did you decide to get married young?
Yeah, I don't know. With myself, it's like she mentioned briefly that, you know, we both met in church, and I used to be like someone so anti-church sort of thing. But my brother was the first one who actually went to church and gave a really good kind of like a good testimony of like a Christian life, because I felt church is all about jumping up and down and clapping your hands and stomping your feet. But my brother was the first real person who spoke normally, came across. Yeah, he just changed, and I was like, do you know what? Like I like the way this guy is, and another thing as well, he kind of made me look deeper into a lot of things, like reasons not to do certain things. So, for example, even with like girls and stuff, he would show me like the reason why I shouldn't be trying to move to all different girls, because I was someone that wanted to get married in the long term. But he probably showed me that, you know what, if you're running around with 2 different girls, when it's time to actually settle down, it's going to be close to impossible. And that's why you get guys who are 40, 50, who can't get married. So I think with myself, I knew I wanted to get married when we kind of built that bond, that relationship, and then I just said, you know what? Since I've decided to cut everything off and do things properly, I might as well just, you know, spend the rest of my life with the one. And issues.
For me, when I first came to God, I didn't want to get married. My mindset on marriage was I'm not going to be tied down to a man for the rest of my life. So I vowed to myself that I would not get married. And obviously, then I explained that I changed, God changed me, so my whole mind frame changed. And like James said, up to this point, up to when we got married, you know, I decided to be faithful to God. And once I had a relationship with God, once I was saved, and once I knew where I was going, I felt the next step was my love life, and I felt like 2 is better than 1. I 100% believe that, and I thought, why not get married young so we can build a good future together? I was at a point, like I mentioned earlier, I was completely different, confident in myself. God had changed me. I was doing well in my life, and I just thought the next step is to look for my future. And I felt as though once I found the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, let's get married. And that was when our dating experience started, and we got married. And I just thought, once you meet that person, you just think, why wait 10 years, 20 years when you could just get married and start your life together now? So yeah, that was what I was thinking. What was the hardest problem you faced after being married? Some of you guys may know, my friends and family, our friends and family may know that after we got married, my husband actually had cancer. So let's kind of tell you the story, because I mentioned a situation that happened in my video with my sister while we came back from our honeymoon, but we didn't actually mention it. So should we talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? Should I talk about it?
That, yeah, it's crazy. During my wedding preparations that everyone's going to get married, I was just preparing for the whole wedding and everything like that, and I randomly had like a pain in my mouth, and I went to the dentist and they told me that it was a wisdom tooth problem. So for like a month or 2 months before I went to King's Hospital to then get the wisdom tooth out, I was waiting, and then it was getting worse and worse and growing, like it was getting worse and worse. And then when I got
sorry to cut you, but at that time we just thought it was a tooth. You know, sometimes you have a problem with your tooth, so it just swells up.
Yeah,
so that's what we just basically thought.
And when you get the green light from the dentist and it's a wisdom tooth,
yeah,
in my head I was like, raw. Like I hear a lot of people always complain about wisdom tooth. Like this really hurts.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was, and I said it was a wisdom tooth. And when I went to take out the wisdom tooth, the guy told me straight up, he said, look, mate, this is not a wisdom tooth. This is a tumour you've got in your jaw, like in your mouth. So then I got transferred to Guy's Hospital, and then
long story cut short, after biopsies and after everything, they couldn't get to the root of what it was. And I kept on going every Friday. I will never forget, every Friday back and forth. And this was literally just before we were getting married.
Just for
our wedding.
And then the day before my wedding was the day when they diagnosed me, and they said, yeah, this is a tumour. But the guy said to me sort of like, get married, enjoy yourself, go on honeymoon, we're going to Egypt and stuff for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, come back and I'll transfer you to UCL, and then what will happen is you just have surgery and then Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, so James called me the day before our wedding and told me, so the doctor said to me that he has a tumour. So obviously, you know, when you hear tumour, automatically you think cancer. But I was just, you know, you're just trying to be faith, you know, and say, oh, yeah, it's just a tumour and it's going to be dealt with, because the doctor said they can just do an operation after our 2-week honeymoon and just remove it. So at this point, we had faith as well, because we have faith in God. So when we heard the news, we weren't worried. We just used our faith. We prayed. We put it in God's hands, and we didn't worry, because at the end of the day, when you believe in God, God says, ask anything, you know, and He'll do it. And I really believe that when prayer works, so I didn't worry. We gave everything to God.
So let me just
let
me cut. So long story short, got married. Day of the wedding was an amazing day, but
however,
I was in so much pain that day because like it was thumping like constantly, and then
so we had to take pictures on this side of this side of the face, because his face was getting more swollen. So the whole day he was taking paracetamols, this painkiller, that painkiller, on our wedding day. And
then because can you imagine as well what was crazy, because as I said, we were dating for some time and we'd never had sex. We waited until the wedding day.
Yes.
So it was an amazing experience with Des, but it was mixed with like greatness and at the same time so much pain. So it was really like weird. And then I remember like being in the hotel and we were about to fly out, and we had the possibility literally on the phone to the insurance people, and they said, look, we can give you all your money back or fly out, but if you fly out, we're not going to cover you, as in we're not covering you, there's no insurance.
Maybe we should have cancelled it, but because we heard from the specialist that it was fine, that we could go.
From the specialist, it's
you
fine.
You can't just think.
Plus, as well, it's our honeymoon, and I didn't really want to, I kind of wanted to soldier it and kind of just go off and give her, the best time of her life in a sense, and myself. But no, I knew from get-go I couldn't have the best time of my life because of the pain. Like I was in serious pain. But it was just to serve my wife, like say, you know what, give her the time of her life sort of thing.
Yeah, and then when we got on the aeroplane and stuff, James, I had known him for years. And obviously when he's sick and stuff, like he can deal with pain, James can deal with any pain. But for me to see him in pain, I knew he must be in pain because he never ever shows it. And he was on the airplane with his face down, holding onto his side of his face. And that just tore me up because I'm just like, this is supposed to be my honeymoon and my husband is in pain. And it was just...
Yeah, it was mad. And then I think it's all because of the change of climate, being in another country, it literally grew about 5 times the size of just like...
Yeah, the tumour was just growing
outside as well as like internally. So it felt like my windpipe was closing up, and then got to the point where I couldn't chew no more and I couldn't eat, and I was just drinking.
So this was our honeymoon, and we were only there for 3 days.
3 days.
And obviously waking up every day and seeing, I was obviously witnessing that the tumour was growing. But every night we're there praying, literally praying. We were messaging some of our friends and families. We didn't really tell everyone because we didn't want everyone to worry. Everyone was in prayer, and like we said earlier, the foundation of our relationship is our faith, our relationship with God. So even though we're going through this time, we weren't worried. We were more revolted and upset with the situation that we're on our honeymoon and we're in pain. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to him? It wasn't like that. It was just a situation that I wish that we weren't in. So we were praying every day, but it got to a point where we could see he's in a lot of pain. He couldn't eat, he couldn't do anything. So we just said we have to get emergency flights and come back to London. So we came back after three nights or 4?
I think it was 3 nights.
3 nights we came back,
I remember literally being on the sunbed. I was like...
Yeah, I think that was it.
I was like, do you know what? It was like really nice weather, it was really hot.
It was hot. And this is when Egypt was fine. There was no problems in Egypt. This was when it was the holiday destination.
Sharm el-Sheikh, it's really
nice.
And I was literally like, do you know what? I feel like... And do you know what? Because I wasn't eating properly. It was really hot. And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna die. I literally felt I was gonna die out there that deep. I was like, you know what? Nah. And then the worst thing, I didn't want myself to like faint or
and then have to go
to the hospital
there in Egypt. So we were like, let's get back to London. So we came back, and the results of the scans and stuff that he took prior to going on holiday, they had all the results. So we went to the hospital the next day. And that is when they confirmed and said it's high-grade cancer. Yeah, the guy was like, "You're crazy! Like, why did the doctor or why did the person in Ghana say go to the holiday? This is serious. This is serious. This is real." Yeah. And then they said to me like, "We're gonna need to put you on chemotherapy." And it was mad because they had in mind for a 6-month treatment. Yes. Yeah, so sorry to cut you, Moo. But ladies, please imagine you just got married. 3 days after you got married, your husband has cancer basically, and now you're both being told he's gonna start chemotherapy. He's gonna start chemotherapy, which could last for
6 months.
6 months or more, because it depends on how it was. And
it's supposed to be like 3 days in hospital, 10 days at home. 3 days in hospital, 10 days at home. For 6 months.
For 6 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was just a crazy. It's a situation you don't think that you're ever going to be in, especially after being people of faith. People being so positive and people living the right way, you know, pleasing God. You don't think that something so great, such a big problem is going to come, because James was so fit, so healthy. There was nothing wrong with him. There's no cancer in his family, nothing. You know, I
was even running to work. I used to run to work and cycle.
Yeah, running to work, cycling, eating well, not smoking, not drinking. Obviously, in your past, you used to drink, but none of that. So it was literally a shock. So yeah, that was how the beginning of our marriage was. But thank God we used our faith. Like I said, I know I keep mentioning it, but the foundation of our relationship is our faith in God. And honestly, our faith got us through. So there wasn't any point that we were like, I was like, oh my God, she's gonna die, or what's gonna happen? I'm so scared I'm gonna miss my husband. Never. Because what you believe in will happen. And I believed that he was going to be healed, and I believed that he was going to be fine, and so did he. So, and that's another thing. This is why I admire my husband, because even during the time, long story cut short, so we were praying, using our faith for the 2 weeks, because they said in 2 weeks' time you need to start chemo. That's it. So just coming back, 2 weeks time you start chemotherapy, we were like, we believe that God can do something. So we used our faith for praying every day, and then the day that he was supposed to go and start the chemo, it was in that moment when the doctor said to us, you know, it's no longer high grade, it's low grade cancer, it's not spreading, it's not active, we don't have to do chemotherapy, we can just do the operation and remove the tumour. In that moment, we were literally like, thank you, Jesus, because we knew that it was only God, because these same people were telling us he needs to start chemotherapy ASAP, and I was witnessing the tumour growing every day, and for it to all of a sudden, anyway, we just knew that God intervened.
Yeah, I think that's for you, it's like, thank you, Jesus. Like, for me, it's crazy.
Yeah, for me, I was like, thank
for her, for me, it was like, do you know what, it's not enough. And
it's not enough, yeah.
I was like, no, I don't even want to do surgery. I was like, God, it's either you heal me or literally I die. Yeah,
so then
yeah, that was it. And then it's crazy, man.
Surgery.
I think that was probably the hardest bit, because I think it's what they said will happen to me. Like, I remember then it was like
the list.
Yeah, it was like, you know, I'll be dribbling whilst I talk. I want all my whole sides, like the whole nerves will be completely damaged. That I won't be able to walk properly, and the list went on and on and on and on. And like, it was like a 19-hour surgery, and
19-hour surgery.
It's crazy because it's 19-hour surgery, and I don't drink alcohol, so when I had like the anesthetic, is it anesthetic?
What, to put you to sleep?
Yeah, I don't know.
When they were when you were sedated.
So when all the drugs and all of the stuff was getting into my system, man, it really messed me up. And then I was hallucinating.
So anyway, it was a long journey.
Yeah, crazy. And I couldn't talk for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he couldn't talk for 2 weeks. He couldn't. He had to try. What's that thing? Tracheostomy. Yeah, he couldn't talk for 2 weeks. And then when I would go to see him,
I think that was the hardest. Because you said, what's the hardest thing that you've gone through?
Yeah.
I think not being able to talk for 2 weeks. That was hard.
And then when I tried to talk to him, he couldn't talk to me.
Like, when I used to try to write things down,
he couldn't write it down.
I couldn't like spell no more. I couldn't spell.
Nothing.
I couldn't string sentences together.
Yeah. He was in hospital for.
That's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother day. I don't want to go too much into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so after marriage, obviously found out about the whole cancer. He had an operation, 19-hour operation. We were in hospital for.
Cut off. Placed a bone in my leg. It was mad.
Yeah. He was in hospital for 8 weeks or 6? 8 weeks, I believe it was. 7 or 8 weeks he was in hospital for. And at this time as well, this was a hard time for me. So this was probably the hard time for me as well. The hard time wasn't just finding out that my husband had cancer, because I had faith that he would be free from that. What was hard is leaving my home, leaving my family to get married, and now for 8 weeks I was living alone again. So because I didn't want to live, I don't know how to explain it. When you're going through something, sometimes you just want to deal with it yourself, because everyone around you could be mourning and really upset, and I was quite determined that things were going to be okay, even though there were days that I cried. You know, it was hard because I was having to go work, church and hospital every day, but I pulled through for my husband. And yeah, it just wasn't, you would just never think that something like that would happen after getting married, and it happened immediately after we got married. And I could say that was probably the biggest problem. It didn't affect our marriage, don't get me wrong, at all. It didn't affect our marriage. It didn't bring problems. Like, it didn't. It actually brought us closer.
It made us closer.
It made us closer.
It's like it was weird because even when my wife's walking down the aisle, like I said, I wouldn't cry on my wedding.
Started crying like a dog.
Bawling like a dog. But it was
just really emotional. I think because the news we found out, and I had said to him the night before, I don't care. Even though you have cancer, with cancer, without cancer, I've made that vow to marry you through sickness and through health. And that's another thing. When you get married, it's not just to say the vows for the sake of it, because there's going to be a time in your life you have to go through every single one of those vows and prove to your partner that you will live by them. And I thought it wasn't a problem in marriage. We just had to work on it and deal with it. He was in hospital for 2 months after coming out, recovering out of work and stuff. So we have had a long journey, but it's just made us stronger.
Wow.
So so now we're going to leave some pictures anyway now for you to have a look. He's fine, he's cancer free, he just has like some reconstruction surgeries, is that right?
Yeah, reconstruction surgery.
And that's it.
And that's it, back to
basically just on the side. But
sorry.
I hate when he does that because I think he's being real and I always fall for it. But it doesn't hurt. But one thing, and that's another thing before I move to the next question, that's why it's so important not just to find someone that is handsome, that is beautiful, or that you think is your trophy. Because imagine if I just married James just because he was handsome, and maybe I liked this about him, maybe I liked that about him, but more about him I didn't like, or more of his morals and stuff I didn't agree with, but I thought, do you know what, he's so handsome though, he's everything that I wanted. I would have been a depressed wife because he doesn't look the same. Even though he's still handsome to me, I still think he looks the same. He's so handsome, but
same, different.
But it doesn't bother me at all. And because James is James, Moo is Moo, like this is him. Do you know what I mean?
Boo is Boo.
And Boo is Boo. Moo is Moo. So that's why I would always say, don't just go for looks. You have to, obviously looks doesn't matter because you are going to be this person for the rest of your life, but you don't know what's going to happen. And through those hardships, it's not looks that are going to get you through. It's not, oh my gosh, my wife is beautiful, my husband is so handsome. That's not going to get you through hard times, not at all. So,
but I do say that you need to get with someone that you do find attractive.
Yes, you do need to.
Initially, because
you know. Of course you have to, but not just that.
Yeah, but don't base it on, purely on that.
But you have to be.
They have to personality. They got to be compatibility.
Yeah, compatible. Anyway, but we're talking too much. So anyway, next question. Sorry, that question was quite long. How do you keep a healthy relationship?
I know how to keep a healthy relationship.
I'm gonna be honest. James is quite good. So I think James can answer this question.
No, you can answer it. Because if she answers it, then she has to live it. Yeah.
No, I do. But you're just better than me.
No, you're good. You're good as well. You're good as well.
Okay, so the reason why I said that is because one thing I could vouch for my husband is that he gives his best to me. Every single day. I can see that he tries every single day to make me happy. And sometimes I feel like I can be selfish sometimes to think about myself, and I'm still learning when I move.
Yeah, you are.
I'm still learning. James. I'm still learning, I'm still trying, and there are times I do, but there are times I'm not gonna lie, I'm human. And sometimes I think about myself and my mood swings, I just talk about myself. But I will admit, put my hands up and say, James definitely puts me first. And that is the key, I think, in a relationship, is to put the other person first. And it's something that I actually learned after being married to him, because before, when I was in a relationship, my mindset was, my boyfriend better just do everything that he needs to do to keep me happy. When after getting married, I realized that is the wrong mentality. You need to be with someone to make them happy, not for you just to be happy. Oh, he has to do this, he has to do that for me. No, because that's not what marriage is about. So over the years, because we've been married for 3.5 years, I've learned to keep a healthy, strong marriage is to put the other person first. And that's in everything, in basically everything. So that's tip number 1, to give your best for the other person. Tip number 2.
Like that?
Yeah.
Oh, this should be tip number 1. It's just a trick. It's a trick that you should follow. All you need to do, alright, is give your best. If, for example,
that's number 1, yeah.
Yeah.
But let James.
It's just that's it. Do you know, if you literally and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna admit it. I did a challenge to myself because I normally do it, but I wanted to like prove this point. And I remember for a long period of time, I was literally just giving more, giving. And
the relationship was.
Yeah, and I remember I was just doing so much good things. I was caring, blah blah blah. And long story short, they got to a point when Des, literally, I remember, I'll never forget, she brought it down and started crying. I was like, what are you crying for? And she's like, because you're so good, like, and,
I'm not so bad.
Yeah, it's like, I don't deserve it. And then that was just a full confirmation.
And then that made me start giving more to him. Do you know what I mean? So, and I also say, if you say, I want my partner to change something, and you've been trying to tell him and they're not changing, don't worry. You do your part, and naturally, what you want in a relationship, you have to give to the person. So that's tip number 1, and I learned that from being married, because I didn't know that before. I didn't understand that before.
And you have to understand the reason why that works is because and I know some will say no, it's not true, but some actually it doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Some people are like, this is how I am, this is the way that I am, and I'm not changing. So even if a person's giving their best to it, they're like, this is how they are, stubborn. Then they're not willing to change.
Then you're in trouble. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
Sorry. No. Like, you can change. He can change. He can change, or she can change, but you're in trouble right now. Because this is a serious case. So
the first tip is to just give. Don't worry, oh, he's not doing this for me, he's not doing that for me, she's not doing that. You give your part as a wife, as a husband, as a boyfriend, as a girlfriend, and you'll receive. Give and you'll receive. Second is to be understanding and to compromise. Definitely. I think one thing I was saying today, men are completely different to women. The way that we think is completely different. And being married again, I learned that James...
Being married again? You were married the first time?
No, being married again, makes... No, you guys...
You've been married already?
Stop it, James. You guys knew what I meant. So, James, you made me forget what I was saying now.
You were saying...
Compromise.
Being married again.
No. Compromise and understanding. Yeah, men are completely different to women. So after being married, I realised I think completely different to how James thinks. I react to things completely different how James reacts to things. In the beginning, sometimes it could clash because you're expecting him to deal with a situation the way you would, and he's expecting me to deal with a situation how he would deal with it. So you have to understand we are different. And you have to understand the way that I have to understand the way that James thinks and the way James deals with things, and likewise with myself. And then like that, you come to an agreement. You just gain that understanding over time as how he likes to deal with situations, how I like to deal with situations, and you need to compromise every day. And yeah.
Then that's the question. Okay.
Yeah. James can answer the next question.
Okay. How was it for the first 3 months of marriage?
Other than the cancer, like, let's just erase that because that's an external problem. It was amazing. The first year.
Yeah.
Because some people say, it depends, because some people say the first year of marriage is difficult, or the first year of marriage is difficult.
A lot of people say that.
I understand that when you're two complete opposite people, and there is going to be that challenge of clashing, different personalities, different way of living together. But for us, there was no problem.
It was really good, actually. And
no problem.
But what was interesting is that because of all the people around that we used to hear, like them counselling, in other words, us, and telling us, preparing us for marriage, and like they'll say, yeah, trust me, the first month, 2, 3, 4,
Or
first year is really, really difficult, and they would then reel off all of the reasons why. And then it was interesting because, like in the first year, I was like, wait a minute. I was waiting for that to happen.
Waiting for the moment to
that
be
moment,
like, that's what we were talking about. But it just didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I was like, and then that made me realize that a lot of people probably get married and they're probably not really compatible for each other.
Yeah.
So that's another thing as well. If you're dating right now, then be 100% real.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Because a lot of people, they're dating girls as well as boys. And the guys
just to show their nice side,
trying to always giving the right words and always saying the right things.
You have to be transparent, and I feel like because prior to that, and I'm going to speak about this in the Christian dating part because someone asked about Christian dating, because it was so transparent, because there was nothing else distracting us, because I mentioned after, there was nothing else distracting us, so we literally used that time of dating and being engaged to get to know each other. So we're spending so much time with each other that I knew everything about him, he knew everything about me. He started to know what I like, what I don't like, and over time we literally slowly became closer and closer and closer. So by the time we got married, there was nothing new, obviously, and that's another thing, the small things that he did, and you just have to, you don't make a problem out of the toothpaste or the toilet seat, or I don't know, we're just not like that.
Yeah, we're not like that.
So we had,
and if you like that, you got a problem, man.
There's some people that are just stopping.
Okay, no, sorry. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
A lot of people just love making
looking
problems
at the small
out of
thing.
nothing.
But these are small things that I've noticed that in relationships, people that take them seriously could actually bring a divorce and problems in a marriage where it doesn't need to be. So you just have to be able to you have to be humble to accept the person for who they are, but I also have to be willing to change certain things that I could say, this really needs to change. Or if you see that it's fine, that's fine, it's a habit, it's how they grew up, it's fine. If not, work together. Now guys, let's move to the next question. We're almost finished. I think it's the last one. Any advice for young people who are dating or just dating in general? So first, I think I want to kind of split this into two. So first I want to speak about Christian dating, because I think Christian dating is different to normally dating. Normal dating. So first for the Christian dating, I'll speak Christian dating, you speak the other. So I'm just going to give advice from what we did for ourselves. As I mentioned, we were dating for a few years before we got married, and we were celibate, so we waited to do everything except kiss for our wedding day. So that meant that the way that we were dating in general had to be a bit different. Yes, so as Christians, obviously God says that we should wait for the day that we find our partner and we get married, so we did that. So to make sure that we avoided any temptations or any feelings to go against that, we made sure that we dated in a certain way. We had a few rules. It might seem a bit religious or you might not agree with it, but these are things that we did. So we didn't go on holiday with each other before we got married. I didn't go to his house. I didn't go to his house unless a family member or someone was there, and he didn't come to my house unless a family member or someone was there. During our dating time, we basically just used that time to get to know each other, not to do anything, We were aware of the places that we were. I didn't sit on his lap. There were so many things that we took in consideration because we wanted to help each other on the journey. I didn't want to tempt him, he didn't want to tempt me. I didn't wear things that I thought that he would, that his mind could go elsewhere. All of these tips we used whilst dating to kind of keep ourselves for each other. And like I said before, we used this time to just communicate. So even though we couldn't do all of those things that people might think it's going to be boring without, it actually wasn't, because during that time we spent so much more time together, getting to know each other, going to museums, going to parks, going to the beach, going on walks, especially walks. We love going on walks to today, just to talk and get to know each other. So I would say be wary of how your dating is. So try it and let it be less physical, and let it be more.
But some might turn around and say, why can't it be physical? And I'll answer that quickly, because you have to as well, in dating as well, have something you're working towards. And that's what it is. Like, I literally said, you know, I want to get to know the person, number one, and then have like a kind of a treat, the kind of like, wow, got to that level, and you know, now we're experiencing this together. So I think that's what you guys need.
Yeah, so just have those things in mind when dating. If obviously you want to date in the way that God wants us to date, just avoid any situation that you can see that could just be hard for you both, and use the time to just get to know each other, spend more time with each other, speak on the phone all the time, go places, you know, and just spend more time with the person.
I know what you're gonna think as well. So to cut you, but a lot of people will be thinking, oh, that's rubbish or that's boring. No, it's not. Like, remember as well that when you guys are like, you know, doing it, rushing everything and doing everything straight away, you literally get blinded from the physical, the enjoyment in a sense, and then you miss out a lot of the key things, like, is person compatible,
Building the foundation.
So literally a lot of people are blinded because of the physical, and it's like they probably might even see a lot of stuff wrong with the guy or vice versa with the girl, but they brush it aside because they're enjoying that person physically
because
so much.
One last thing before we do speak about the other side, to love someone isn't just a feeling. If it was a feeling, people wouldn't be married today, because feelings come, feelings go, depending on situations. There are times if things are hard, in that moment, if he's doing things to upset me, I'm not going to feel in love with him. Do you know what I mean? Love is a decision, and love is a decision to dedicate myself to this person for the rest of my life. So if you want to have that love, that strength to love someone, it has to be built on a strong foundation. So I feel like it's important to build that foundation of your relationship to be able to offer that to someone else. Do you know what I mean? And for those who are not Christians,
sorry, I was going to say something extra, and I don't think I didn't mention it, but as well, man, it's good like not doing certain things. Why? Because in the long run, you have a goal. And when you truly like get to that goal, like for example marriage and having your first night,
and living together and going on holiday,
it's like, you know what, wow, this is it was worth the wait.
Yeah.
You know like, I'm trying to think of an analogy of like, if you just rushed it straight away, like imagine, okay, I'll give this analogy. Imagine you were rich from birth. Like, imagine you're rich from birth, compared to someone who had to go for a struggle, that they had to, like, they didn't get on the silver platter, they had to build it, they had to work, and then their business blew up, and then now they're successful, they're rich. Trust me, the person that had to go through the hardship to get that riches is going to enjoy the money much more than someone who is born into it.
That's true.
You know, so that's how I see it with like relationships.
Yeah. And yeah, just in general, for relationships in general, whilst you're getting to know them, enjoy getting to know them. It's basically the same. Enjoy getting to know the person, because, and another thing, don't be afraid to leave a relationship that you feel is not working. If you have to force, like I mentioned today, if you have to force the relationship to work, I don't think it's worth it. Especially if you're someone that is in a relationship and you feel as though you're the one that's giving, you're the one that's trying, the other person's not making an effort. You have to consider all of these things. Dating is the time to really see, is this person the person you want to spend the rest of your life with? And if they're already showing characteristics that you can't trust them because of the things that they're doing, they're not humble, they're not willing to change, they don't put you first, they don't consider you. All of these things you have to look at whilst you're dating. So obviously I know it's lovely going out on dates and things, but you have to look at the person, the character of the person. And if you see it's someone that, yeah, you know, this person's compatible for me, this person is honest, this person is trustworthy, this person is someone that I can see myself spend the rest of my life with them, and then yeah, definitely. But if you see there are things in the person that you've given them time after time to change and they're still not changing, then consider it, because in the long run you're just going to be hurting yourself. So don't be afraid to let go, because sometimes to grow and to move forward is to first let go.
Cool. And everyone else, because we are Christians, and that's the model that we took, and it's really helped us, and hence the reason why, 3.5 3.5 years down the line, we're moving strong. It's amazing marriage and stuff like that.